It's 4:20 somewhere. Right now, that somewhere is right here on the Cannabist Show. So hello and welcome. I am producer Vince, and over here we have your host, Ricardo Baca.
Thanks, producer Vince. Wow, and thanks to everyone watching at home. It's been a fascinating week in marijuana. Lots of big news went down this week, so how about we jump right in? Vince, have you been following all of the big marijuana votes in the U.S. House this week?
You know, Ricardo, I've been trying to follow them, but there's so many, it's making me dizzier than usual.
Seriously. There were a lot of them, and while all of them were important, including those involving industrial hemp and cannabidiol, or CBD, most people were looking at two of these bills. One addressed medical marijuana, protecting patients in medically legal states, and the other was on recreational cannabis, protecting those who use, sell, or possess weed in recreationally legal states.
The recreational one was a little bit larger, you know, in the big scope of things, though, right?
Yeah, it was the bigger bill. It was the bigger deal, and even the legalization activists weren't quite sure how it would do in a House vote. But here's what went down in D.C. on Wednesday. So the medical marijuana amendment, it passed the House vote by a pretty definitive margin, 242 to 186. The recreational cannabis amendment did not fare so well, losing 206 to 222.
So that's like a win and a loss for the legalization advocacy groups, right?
Technically, yes, but many of the pro-drug reform folks I talked with this week said that even though the recreational bill lost, they said that it signifies something of a win for the legalization movement. You see, the medical pot amendment that passed this week, it also passed in the House last year, but it took 7 tries over 11 years to pass, according to the Marijuana Policy Project's Dan Riffle.
And the recreational bill, it only lost this week by, what, 16 votes? So activists think that puts them in a good place for next year.
Or the year after, exactly. And here's what Riffle told me. Quote, to start with 206 votes on the recreational amendment is much better than we expected. With 5 more states voting on regulation next year, it should only take us 1 or 2 more years to get this over the finish line, end quote.
And it is really a big deal, especially for us in Colorado, Washington, many other places too.
Exactly, Vince. And speaking of Washington State, have you seen this totally bizarre video of the fast food workers doing dabs from the drive-thru window?
Oh man, how could I not? That's why I missed all the House votes this week. I watched it so many times.
It's such a strange situation, and what an odd byproduct of legal weed. Vince, can you cue the clip?
Hell yeah, I will.
What's up, guys? I'm Joe at Tacoma, and we are at the drive-thru where apparently they take dabs. So we're gonna see. Who's first?
Hi.
We can pull this off, right? All right, Brian, right here. Who's number 1? There we go. Next. Next. Whoop, never happened.
All right, only in America, kids.
Only in America, kids. That guy. I'm not so sure about him, but also those dudes working the burger joint. I mean, can you imagine something like that happening to you, Vince? You're flipping burgers, dropping fries, working the window. I've worked multiple drive-through windows. And then some dude comes through your drive-thru offering to dab you out with super potent weed concentrates?
I have no idea what I would do in that situation.
I know. Do you take the dab and risk it knowing that you're on video? Do you not take the dab like the guy at the end who was waving his hands like, nope, I'm not doing that on camera?
And the guy who did the dabs, he was fired from that burger joint, right?
They were fired, yeah. The fast food place, which is called Frugals, which seems like a name right out of Office Space, told Washington TV station Como, quote, Frugals has a zero-tolerance drug policy in the workplace, and we in no way condone the type of conduct captured
Well, duh. Can you show me the place that does condone that kind of conduct?
I can't even. No, I can't even. But maybe my first guest has an idea of what that would look like. He is, after all, a pot critic. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome my colleague and good friend Jake Brown to the Cannabist Show.
Hey, Becca. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me back.
I think this might be technically your first appearance on the show. The earlier appearance, did it air, or is that one of those great lost episodes when we were finding our way?
You know what? I love this because I did so poorly in trivia last time that we're both going to pretend like it didn't happen. I think it was Lindsay that just beat.
That's
tarred and
right.
feathered me. It was terrible.
Your second appearance on the show.
Hey,
Welcome back.
I'll drink to
Technically,
that.
It's
maybe a
his
third.
actually. We did do one in rehearsal with him.
There we go.
That's right. And if you haven't seen that back episode with Jake and Lindsay from Dixie Elixirs, definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Jake, what do you think about these dudes doing dabs from the drive-thru?
Listen, if you are trading dabs for food at a place called Frugal's, you're doing it wrong. All right? Like the economics of that don't work.
Yeah, right? This is very pricey, expensive, concentrated marijuana.
Right. And what sounds like a relatively good deal. I mean, it's not like nickel fries or whatever, but
Right.
yeah. I mean, it's tough. I love how the guy is like saying that he's making this big statement by doing
Yeah.
this. It's like, yeah, I've been making that same statement since high school. Give them weed, get food back.
Well, what about that guy in the truck? Because here he comes along, he dabs him out. Was it bad form? Knowing that he was going to hopefully talk somebody into doing dabs and then post the video in hopes that it would go viral and raise awareness of his organization? Or was it generous of him? Sharing is caring.
Listen, he is not some kind of dabbing hood here, all right? Like giving dabs to, the people that need it the most. And I side with the employer on this one. Like the last thing you want to do if you're running a fast food restaurant is give people that high unfettered access to fast food. Just there they go, the profits.
I love the video so much. There's that great moment where the guy kind of looks around and then he just goes for it and takes a deep hit.
Right.
And then I'm assuming he just exhaled back in the restaurant.
Right.
Which you have to wonder what the hell is going on at that point.
That's
Too funny.
Yeah, I mean, I would go and eat there. I think that'd be a fun place to just check out.
Jake Brown reviewing the food at Frugal's. Jake, you wrote a couple pieces this week. Very fun stuff, I might
thank
add.
you.
They're getting a lot of attention. Want to talk about them both. First up, you told readers to not be that guy or girl. It's a Reddit-inspired list of what not to do when getting high with your friends, right?
Absolutely. Really fun thing that Reddit does is they have these text-only posts. Usually it's a bunch of pictures of people with their cool pipe, but this is on Sundays, they let you kind of get into the more philosophical issues based around weed.
Right.
And so they were talking about the 5 things that people could do that would make them never want to smoke with you again. And it was like blowing a bowl out. Another example was like getting a joint super wet and passing it.
And that to me is the grossest of all of them that you mentioned. Like the way you described it, like some dude is slobbering on a joint before passing it, and I was like, that guy was right. I think, what did he say? That shit is gross. That is gross.
I mean, I remember though, like I would go into dispensaries back when everything was really new out here, like 2009, 2010, and you would see people that were just licking joints, like joint after joint, and I'm like, that doesn't feel right either. But I mean, marijuana is not the most sanitary thing, but at least just don't hand someone something that's dripping,
It's not the most sanitary thing, and anybody who's been to the Cannabis Cup can confirm that,
Yep.
I remember Susan Squibb, one of our colleagues, wrote an entire column about cup cough.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a legit thing.
I know several people this year that they were totally decimated by cup cough. It's actually becoming, it's building up resistance. There are strains of cup cough that are getting real crazy out there.
This is getting way too complicated. Different strains of cup cough based on different strains of weed. I saw people at this year's cup, I'm sure you did too, the little things around their neck that they'd put against their lips and then put against the bong or the dab rig or whatever. Did you notice that?
Yeah, and there are people that'll now have the little alcohol swabs. There's
Right.
all kinds of things. I just say, bring your own pot. and you kind of take care of that. But yeah, and it was a different type of cup anyway. But yeah, I think that there are so many of these little, etiquette pieces that extend, beyond what was a really great piece that, the Emily Post Institute was involved with,
right?
Lizzie Post. But, there's more than just dinner parties. There's all of these things where people might not understand what to do if you're in a circle. It goes to the left and don't cut in line. So, there's so much to explore, and that's where I'm having a ton of fun in the comment sections. Everyone's chiming in with their thing that they hate.
They totally are. Vince, you chimed in. What pisses you off when you're getting high with friends?
This is one thing. It's a small thing, and probably some of my favorite smoking buddies in the world they are guilty of it. It's just that stoner mentality where you want to be a stoner stereotype, where it's just I want to veg out, I want to watch the same stupid movie I've watched 1,000 times, and I just want to be high and giggle. And I'm like, well, why can't you do anything else? Expand your mind. Work. Go for a walk. We're in Colorado, right? Well, a lot of us are in Colorado. I mean, go outside, do something fun.
That's a good point.
You can use it to expand your mind, not just to sit in a dark room all day and play Magic the Gathering.
Oh, shots fired. For the viewers who don't know, we have a very big fan of Magic the Gathering right here next to me. And
I just don't remember how
but
to
I go
play
out,
it.
hey,
That's my
listen,
problem.
you know what I do? Yeah, I go out, and on Friday nights, I play against teenagers, all right, Vince? I'm getting out of the house.
At least you're getting out, that's right.
And there's something to be said about that, Vince. I totally agree that we should be challenging ourselves. You can get high and watch Half Baked again, or you can watch, Montage of Heck on HBO, or go for a hike or a bike ride, so long as you're somewhat paying attention to the laws in your local municipality, as we found out.
Yep. And I mean, that's the one thing I try and do in my strain reviews. I always say that marijuana doesn't exist in a vacuum for most people. That if they're coming here, they want to, maybe get some recreational pot, but then also enjoy Colorado. And so I always try and find a different thing to do, or, just exist outside of that little pot bubble.
Sure. And it's about enjoying Colorado while you're enjoying marijuana. And another piece you wrote this week, which was super fun, I asked you to write it, and I appreciate you humoring me. The best tasting weed out there.
Right.
What are those 10 best, the weed that tastes really great, that has the flavor profile? And you wrote about 10 of them, but you didn't anchor them with a number 1 through 10. So what is your favorite tasting weed?
All right, so this is kind of my dark horse right now, but it's the strain called Sugar Black Rose. It's done by Delicious Seeds. You're not seeing a ton of it out there right now, but it's super unique. There's not a lot else out there that's in that same ballpark. Tropical fruits. I always say when I first smelled it, it reminded me of Hypnotic.
I used to love Hypnotic.
Yes.
Primarily because of Snoop Dogg songs.
Right,
but yeah.
There's a lot you can love because of Snoop Dogg songs, let's be honest. But like that, or Alizé, where it's very tropical, fruit forward. It just hits you over the head, sugary, but also, the rose in the name indicates there are some floral notes to it, which, I always hate strains that are overly floral. It's kind of like smoking perfume, which I don't recommend for anybody.
Yeah, no.
But it's actually complementary. So that's something that I would, search it out, because it's not, something as ubiquitous as a grape ape, which I included,
Sure.
which is great if you're looking for that grape flavor profile. Something like that's going to be great. But yeah, it's something that I'm really hoping that more people start doing.
And it's called Black Rose? What is
Sugar
it?
Black Rose.
Sugar Black Rose?
Yeah.
And is this like the name of an upcoming 2 Chainz record? Is it going to be the next Girl
Now
Scout
it is.
cookies
Now
or something?
it is.
Or is it available in Colorado? Where did you smoke it? Did you find it in California?
I found it out here. There's a few dispensaries that you can find it. I always recommend going to Leafly and seeing
Sure.
them there, because you never know who's going to have it in stock at a given time. But it's also one of those strains where I think you're going to start seeing more and more of it, because online there's a good buzz. Along those lines, what was that? Oh, stoner moment. Game Changer.
Game
was a strain
Changer,
that,
yeah.
I found out in LA that was.
I think that was the grape one that you wrote about in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
list.
Grape with a little bit of citrus to it. Super unique. It's refreshing. Sometimes grape can feel a little kind of medium mouth heavy, whereas the citrus is like a nice little perk it up. Yeah.
Also in this list, you begrudgingly included Girl Scout cookies. You didn't seem too happy about it, though. So Jake, why do you hate Girl Scout cookies so much?
Girl Scout cookies is like my half-baked of strains, where people just kind of associate it with it's the coolest thing ever. But at the end of half-baked, you gave up weed. Let's not forget that very important point. And there's cookies everywhere, and there are a lot of mislabeled cookies where people are like, oh, we'll just throw it on the shelf, slap Girl Scout cookies, and we'll sell 10 times more of whatever the strain is.
Right.
There are certain cuts that are great. I think the Thin Mints, if you're going for that kind of flavor, is absolutely what you're looking for. There aren't a lot of comparable strains in that flavor profile that really just minty, pine forward, refreshing strain. But I'm over cookies. Come on.
It was so hot 2 winters ago. Was that right?
Exactly. It's like, really, we can't move past this.
Do you still see it a lot? Do you still see it on a lot of shelves?
Oh God, it's
really?
one of those things where just everybody knows they can sell it. It's like putting a fillet on your menu at a restaurant. A fillet isn't a particularly great steak, but some they almost swore. That some just rube will come in and go, yeah, give me the filet, medium well. And you're like, okay, great.
It was the first strain I bought when I moved to Colorado.
Exactly.
It was.
It's like,
And
it's
why,
weed for
Vince?
rookies
I
that
knew
hate
the
magic
name, and I
cards
didn't
and
know what
life.
else I was doing. I was like, that one.
Give me the wrapper weed. I'll take one of those.
When it first kind of became a thing, I was like, okay, I'll give this to you. That's a genius name for a strain of
Right.
pot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just too many fun plays on words.
Well marketed.
Jake, you're an insanely busy guy. I know you've been in 3 or 4 states since the last time I even saw you.
Yeah.
But what kind of projects do you have going on? Any plugs you want to mention?
Absolutely. So this will come out on Friday. So
Yeah.
Saturday, June 6th, we're doing the very first hemp farmers market ever.
Right.
That's going to be here in Denver, Colorado.
And you can read about that in the Cannabist calendar that's
Absolutely.
on the
Yeah, we're doing
homepage
that
right
with
now.
Advanced Cannabis Solutions and the Colorado Hemp Company. It's going to be amazing from 10 until 4. And then we also have Uncalled For, which is our Cards Against Humanity themed game show at the Oriental Theater June 26th, along with Nerd Night. So we're doing kind of a co-show. So drinking, it's like TED Talks, but for nerds with drinking. And then our game show afterwards, there's a fun band, H2 Awesome, that's going to be there. So a night of frivolity.
And Uncalled For is a blast. Congratulations on your recent conquest, bringing the show
Thanks,
to
man.
LA and Portland.
It was so much fun. We can't wait to head
Bridgetown.
back. Yeah.
I know when I was on Doug Loves Movies, I gave you a shout out because I think
Pound
you were
that
in,
out. Appreciate that.
You
Yeah.
were in Bridgetown that weekend,
Yep.
and that's when I think what was the comic's name, Julian
McCullough. Yeah.
And he said you were one of the luckiest men alive to be reviewing
Well,
weed.
I am here on the
magic.
Cannabis Show, so.
There you go, dude. I love it. Thanks for joining.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Now, my next guest is considered an industry leader in Colorado's ever-expanding marijuana space. He runs one of the largest pot shop groups in the state, and they're still expanding in Colorado and elsewhere. So it is my pleasure to welcome the clinic's Ryan Cook to the Cannabist Show. Ryan,
Thanks for having me.
I haven't seen you since we shared a panel stage at the U.S. Cannabis Cup.
It was a good panel, I felt.
Yeah. I hope they learned something.
I think they did. They claimed it was the largest attended one. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
well, I think it was how to
probably
start a canna business
for
or
you.
something. Or, oh no, I had nothing to offer on how to start a canna business. You guys who are putting your necks on the line.
Well, it was a good one.
So Ryan, you run the clinic.
Yeah.
You guys have 5 shops in Colorado alone, and you're thinking 2 more by the end of summer. What are the big challenges of running this kind of a multi-pronged empire?
Well, I appreciate that you consider it an empire, but I think for us it's just constant hard work. I mean, we have built this now to a point where we have about 125 employees with the company here in Colorado, and now as you mentioned, we have some out-of-state operations starting to happen there, and so it's always a challenge. But I think with a great team, you can really accomplish a lot, and I think I have always have to say thank you to all of the individuals that work in our company that has put us where we are today, and the amount of support that we've had from patients and the industry alike. It's been amazing.
I absolutely consider some of these large dispensary shop groups an empire because, man, I mean, there are so many things happening when I'm talking to, the people over at Strainwise or Live Well, and now you're here. You guys are laying foundation in other states. Tell me what's going on in Nevada and Illinois.
Sure. I mean, we were very excited and lucky. I mean, again, with a lot of hard work that was put in there. We were awarded a license in Clark County for both a dispensary, a grow, and what will be a production facility there, which is what we call a MIP here.
Yeah, and that makes edibles for people
exactly.
not in the know.
Edible and concentrates, and our lab products will definitely be out there. So we're excited to see that happen. Along with we were also awarded in Reno, so the same 3 licenses there. So
wow.
So we're under construction, getting these things moving. I mean, it's as challenging as it is to pull off the entire application process. There's a whole another set of hurdles once you need to start construction. There's time frames in which we need to be able to deliver product to the market. So it keeps you on your toes.
And for those who aren't super familiar with Nevada geography, Clark County is home to Las Vegas. So it's a very, very big deal. Lots of people are looking at it. And then what's the situation with the clinic in Illinois? What's that going to look like?
So Illinois was another challenging one. I mean, very few licenses were issued. In fact, actually in the state there was 21 grow licenses issued, along with 60 dispensary licenses. And they're spread out very evenly. Most of them somewhere in a neighborhood of potentially up to 250 miles between the next location. So we ended up receiving a dispensary license in Mundelein, Illinois, and then also grow licenses along with production license in Oglesby, Rock Island, and in Dixon. So we were actually awarded 3 of the 21 grow licenses out there.
Oh, wow.
In fact, although it's always wonderful to be able to receive that, there's also again more hurdles. Now we have 3 grow facilities that need to be under construction. A dispensary that needs to be under construction. So those are some of those challenges that we're kind of talking about. Is being able to operate in multiple locations at the same time and still do it effectively.
That's substantial. 3 grows out of 21 in the entire state.
Yeah,
and you guys landed all 3.
I think that there's a solid chance if we see recreational laws eventually implemented in a place like Illinois. There's probably about a 30% chance that you'll be smoking clinic product if you're in the state of Illinois. So
interesting.
So it's pretty exciting. We're very appreciative to have that opportunity, and definitely going to do good things for the state of Illinois. So
the regulations geek inside me has to ask you,
Sure.
Who had the most business-friendly process? Colorado, Nevada, or Illinois? Who made it work the simplest, most straightforward for you as a businessman?
Sure. Well, I mean, both Illinois and Nevada, it's interesting, as all the states that are out there have the ability and time to put together a program,
Right.
Feel comfortable that before they roll it out, that they understand what that program is going to look like. Whereas, here in Colorado, we experienced much more challenges here.
Sure.
It's been, and we continue after 6 years of constant regulation and, working with the DOR and the Med and the state and local municipalities. I mean, I really have to say that although we've been over a lot of hurdles, Colorado has really done a good job at putting these programs together. In fact, Nevada and Illinois and a lot of states alike are looking at a lot of what we've done to craft their own programs. So although they have also their own challenges and caveats that they've
Sure.
added, I think we've laid a good base here. So.
And I imagine there were moments along the way where you're like, okay, I'm filling out these applications and going through the regulations in Illinois, and you're like, oh, this reminds me a lot of Colorado's medical marijuana code. So, I think certainly people have looked at the Colorado model. The Colorado model is a thing. We've talked about it on this show. Lots of people, states, governments, communities, other countries have come here to study this model.
Yeah, I mean, I think big ones like the pesticide issues that we've been experiencing here here in Colorado. Testing regulation, very, very similarly, mapped after what we've crafted here. So
there you go. I want to skip to Nevada, and I want you to dream big.
Sure.
Ryan,
sure.
what's
bigger than Reno?
bigger? I want you to have the littlest big dream you've ever had about Reno. What is weed going to look like in specifically Las Vegas if Nevada pushes through recreational legalization next year?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, Nevada, as we all know, it's a fun, wonderful place to hang out in, especially Las Vegas. And
They have a fun model.
They have a couple of them.
well, and they have, I have no idea what you're talking about. They have, really also, done something that no other state has done, which they have reciprocity with every state in the nation. So as long as you're a medical patient anywhere in the nation, you will be able to go to a Nevada shop, especially hopefully a clinic shop, and come in with your recommendation, and the patient will be served there. So in all reality, although we're going to come out of the gate as just a medical only state, there is going to be a much different sort of landscape there in Nevada than there has been in a few of the other states. So
if we are dreaming big, what are some of those things that we might see there that we might not ever see in Colorado, let alone see in the next 5 to 10 years?
For sure. Advertising aspect is going to be quite a bit different there. I think you're going to have the ability to be a little bit more boisterous about what it is that you're doing. We have some challenges though to work with the hotels, and that's the same hurdles that we are experiencing here in Colorado, which is how do legal individuals come in, purchase legal product, and then where do they go to be able to use this product?
Yeah,
and
sure.
and that's going to be something. Although I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that cannabis has been smoked in hotels in Vegas before.
Never heard of it. Never seen it.
Now they're going to have the fountains where it's just smoke shows now instead of water.
That's a good idea. See, so we're gonna reach out to our partners here to be able to determine where this can really go. I still think that you have to understand. I mean, in any of these states, especially with coming out of the ground medical, legislators have no intention of turning it into a playground here. I mean, this is intended to be a serious program. Nevada, as most states, I think, look at this as their opportunity to plant their flag, and that their program is going to be, more well run, more well organized than every other program that's out there, which hopefully all of the states have that same opinion. We want to be able to improve on the things that we fell short on, and be able to really capitalize on the ones that have been successful here.
So let me throw out a couple things, Jake. If you want to throw out a couple possible situations, you can tell us if you think Nevada will see this in the next 5 to 10 years. Sure. How about weed-friendly poker rooms?
I think we're still going to have some problems with the indoor smoking.
You do? Okay.
I think you're going to probably see that for the next couple of years. I mean, I think the same as we had anticipated, at the beginning here, that we would see that, eventually loosen, and that there would be some opportunity. And as we all, I think, know and experience, there still is not that option. And in fact, actually, the individuals that have, made an attempt at that have really had their hands slapped as well. So, so I think that's still gonna be a hurdle, down the road.
Sure. Jake.
Okay, what about tipping a service employee in weed?
As we saw at the fast food place, I think it's already underway. So
it definitely is.
I think honestly, I mean, which I love the questions, and it'll be fun, keep them coming. But I will be interested to see. I think some of the things that we know about Vegas, right, is that clubs and bars and they work a lot with cab drivers and hosts and
concierge,
all the and so we'll see how that kind of works. I think we'll see a lot of individuals, kind of take that approach. And but again, it's a medical facility, so this is not exactly we're not in a recreational market just yet. And although I'm sure that it won't be that long, those changes will happen. So
I think Medical Cannabis Cup Vegas.
I think that's for sure. I think High Times is interested to put one in every state, and so I think we'll
go buy the domain if you're at home on GoDaddy.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'll be a great state. With the way that they do conventions right. It'll be an interesting one to be a part of. So
it'll be interesting. I mean, Colorado's Cup just smashed all Cannabis Cup attendance records, and this is back when it was at the Exto Event Center, which is tiny compared to where they host it now. So what if they throw the Cannabis Cup in some venue that holds 40, 50,000 people in Las Vegas and go for it on the medical side with full medical reciprocity from all other states? Right. It's going to be a big deal. One more.
Yeah, sure.
What about on-strip hotel room delivery from a smartphone? I'm staying at the Bellagio. I'll take 2/8. This is what I want.
I can say that potentially down the road, but this is another one where the hotels have definitely put their foot down. There is apps, and so has the state.
Yeah, I was going to say this already exists, just without the app.
But we will not be allowed by law to be delivering to any of the hotels. So if delivery is permitted in Nevada, as you just stated, but those will be to medical patients who are in-state medical patients and who have already registered.
Sure.
So there's a little bit of a difference to it. It's not exactly a full delivery model, nor on the recreational side. But if you are visiting from Colorado and happen to head out to Nevada and want to come check out one of our shops, you will have to come and check it out. So I think it's exciting for us as well, is that to be able to have a facility in Nevada gives us a little bit of a challenge, and as well as an opportunity to really make something, and have a facility that we're planting our flag there, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to provide some interesting new styles and interior design and ways in which we're experiencing that transaction with the patient. So
right. And Ricardo and I joke, but I've always known the clinic as one of the original medical shops, as somebody who was a business that was always there for patients.
Sure.
You guys have been doing the golf tournament for so many years, raising great money, and so I think it's great too that you guys can kind of leave recreational here and go back to medical and really helping people.
Without a doubt. I mean, and I think that's been something that we've gotten to experience ever since legalization here in Colorado. I mean, that was something I shared with my employees. I know the night that we were tirelessly working there on New Year's Eve before we got open, to say to all of them, hey, understand that this is the individuals that are coming in from out of state, which we had 1,000 people in line every day for that first week. Probably 95% of them had out-of-state IDs, and yet they were still walking through the door and asking questions regarding medical conditions and ways to treat those. And so we know that just because we're sitting in a recreational market does not necessarily mean that it's looked at as recreational. And so for us to be able to fall back on that original knowledge and training and the way that we have always taught our employees, it makes it a very easy transition into some of these other states.
It's an important thing to remember, and Jake and I were talking about this last year. One of your first big columns for the Cannabist non-marijuana review columns was we were talking about the importance to just put it out there to remind bud tenders in general that even though the lines are there and even though we're in a recreational era, it is essential to, let's not turn and burn so fast that we're forgetting that a lot of these people who are buying recreationally are still ultimately buying medically.
Absolutely, and that's why we spend so much time, training our employees. I mean, we do one seminar a month for our staff on all aspects of the industry. With 125 employees, we've got quite a few backgrounds. Individuals that maybe been working as a bank teller yesterday or a bud tender today, and Ricardo walks in, he's expecting that everything about that product, and so it takes a lot for us to make sure that we get those employees up to speed.
Well, and medicine is something I do want to talk to you guys about, because you guys take marijuana seriously, but you also take philanthropy seriously. I know I had coffee with a couple of your colleagues last week, and they were telling me that the clinic and its employees have helped raise more than $200,000 for the National MS Society. I mean, that's amazing. That's just amazing. But also, just tell me the backstory. Why the National MS Society, and how did you guys end up raising that crazy amount of money?
Sure. Well, when we started the company, we started the company with a real group of friends, a lot of college buddies, and one of those individuals actually I've known all the way back to high school, and he actually experienced a rough situation, as a lot of individuals do, and his father was diagnosed with progressive MS, which as it does move very, very quickly in that process. He went as a younger individual from hanging out with his dad and doing normal activity to taking care of his dad to complete care. Is feeding him and helping him with the restroom, and his dad was in a wheelchair. Ended up passing away of some complications that generally happen with individuals that are suffering from MS. Fast forward years later, and we're in college, and he meets a girl and has an opportunity to go out on a couple of dates, and she eventually decides to share with him that she knows what he had experienced, and that she wanted to let him know that she also was diagnosed with MS.
Oh, wow.
And that prior to them continuing the relationship, that she wanted him to really consider and have that opportunity, and I know that he took it very seriously, and was absolutely in love with her, and decided to continue that relationship, and she was one of the first 50 on the registry here in Colorado, back in 2000, and he's been her caregiver ever since, and so she's gone from 7 medications down to she is taking 1. She's still on 1 pharmaceutical drug, but she is using cannabis as a kind of her main source of painkiller, and dealing with spasticity issues, and so experiencing that with one of your friends, allows you to really, get on board. And we had actually had a golf tournament that we had done for my birthday every year. Nice. So it's always been in August, and had an opportunity to really see, the tournament always kept getting bigger, and it was a lot of fun. And we thought, what a great opportunity to roll this into a charitable event. And that's what we've done. I mean, this year, August 16th, out at City Park Golf Course is going to be our 6th annual Clinic Charity Classic Golf Tournament.
And I hear there's no more tee times available.
Unfortunately, all the golfer spots are sold out. There's a few sponsorship spots left, a couple, so those are going pretty quick. But it's a really great day. I mean, last year we raised about $100,000 for the MS Society. This year we think we'll be able to go quite a bit north of that, and we're excited. I mean, we do about 5 events for the MS Society every year, and starting with a MS Walk that we just did in May.
Sure.
We raised about somewhere around $25,000, for the walk, and really had a great opportunity. In fact, our grower employee who I just told that the story about him experiencing or his experiences with MS, had an opportunity to do a speech to all of the participants. So there was about 10 to 15,000 people that came out to support that walk and participate. And he shared a story about cannabis and how he's working in the cannabis industry and what it's done, and the amount of support that we had from MS patients following that, coming up and asking questions. And in fact, that day we provided a proportion of our sales to also be donated to the MS Society. And so it was a great experience for me. I really love working with that organization. I mean, if anyone knows anything about charitable organizations, the MS Society is really top-notch organization. I mean, there's so many charitable organizations that not very much of the actual funds reach the individuals in need, and the MS Society has been rated in the top 5% of charitable organizations, nationally every year.
There's a big story online right before this show started with the NPR. I think it's a bit of an expose on the American Red Cross and some of the funds they raised for some of the tragedies that have happened in the last couple of years. But I do have to ask, because there are many charity organizations out there in the last few years, and these are some of my favorite stories about normalization. But the thoughtful dispensary group or the edibles manufacturer who wants to give back, they approach organizations and say, hey, we'd like to donate this money, and the organization says no. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of these instances, but so National MS Society, they are absolutely okay taking money from the legal marijuana industry.
Well, and really, and that's the thing. We have a really wonderful Colorado-Wyoming chapter that we're working directly with. Their staff has just been literally amazing to work with. I mean, over the last 6 years, and really have opened my eyes to what that organization does. Cool. And so, it's been great to work with them on a national level with the MS Society. There's still challenges for them. They're still working with different donors and pharmaceutical companies and different individuals that are working in that space. And so, I was very excited to see that this year the MS Society has just started to make a change where they are accepting cannabis as a treatment, at least starting to allow the individuals who are part of the MS Society to understand it. And that's really all we could ask for. The same as a pharmaceutical company would have an opportunity to, provide a quick conversation with those individuals, so that they can, make a decision if that's something that they'd like to try. Same deal here. It's
those jerks at the Red Cross.
Well, I do want to bring Jake back into the conversation. Earlier we were talking about what makes people tick, like the best tasting weed. And it is kind of a silly idea, right? Because we don't go to the pot shop thinking, hey, I think I want something citrusy or something skunky, or maybe people do. So Jake, I mean, how important is taste when it comes to you walking into the pot shop, buying and smoking marijuana?
Taste is one of those things that's so hard to judge, because usually taste should reflect the nose in general. But I mean, I'm vaping more than I used to, but still not as much as I probably should be. And you're getting a little bit more of the flavor. I mean, for me, the most important consideration is it clean medicine? Is there mold, mites, mildew? All those things are free from the plant. That's good. I want knowledgeable employees, people that don't treat me like I'm the next guy that pulled the tab. Okay, what do I have to show you? That are eager to show me every jar on the shelf, because that's how you're going to find what you like.
Right.
I think it's a lot like pheromones. You just kind of smell it and you're like, oh yeah, that's the one for me.
So number one thing that you most often go into a shop in mind, what is that? What
Cleanliness.
Is that thing?
Cleanliness from the floor to the shelves. That if a place is clean, if it's a well-kept shop, that the employees are tidy, and that the meds look and smell good. I mean, they have a distinct smell. It's not just, oh, hey, not like hay, but like the stuff that horses eat. My grandmother would kill me right now. But yeah, that things have distinct smells, and that, I can look at it and you should be able to tell if, there's mites or mildew generally.
I like it. I mean, I'm the same way with a restaurant, and these are things that we're ingesting, and so it makes absolute sense to look at the floor. I was at a shop last year that shall remain nameless, and
names.
I couldn't believe how much green crumbles all over the top of the counter.
Right.
I mean, the entire top of the glass case was covered with, and I mean, it just didn't make a lot of sense. It seemed wasteful, and also, they were total slobs, and I don't want to buy weed there.
Well, yes, that's it. I come from a restaurant background, and one of my managers was always like, you're going to find 99% of people overlook something, but there's 1% that everybody's looking for. Is, okay, do they have enough sweetener in here, or is there gum on the bottom of the table? And if you mess up their 1% thing, they're just like, oh.
Sure. Suddenly you're that guy, you're that entity. Ryan, your shops are busy. You have a lot of customers.
Sure.
Do you ever hear customers coming in and asking about flavor profiles and tastes, or are they concerned with something else? Are they concerned with your strain selection or potency or different cost?
I think taste is a big one. I mean, I think as we have more informed patients here in Colorado than probably anywhere, they have an excellent understanding of not only cannabinoid profiles but also terpene profiles, and how those terpene profiles are affecting the actual product that they're taking home. And so it's not surprising to have someone come in and ask for pining or and what can you break these strains down for me and tell me kind of where these are at. So more than you would expect, and
Sure.
And I don't think it would be the typical individuals that you would think. I mean, as I said, I mean, I think we're breeding a very informed crop of patients here in Colorado.
Absolutely, and it's worth mentioning that we have to define the word terpene less and less. I mean, it is a biological result of many plants that gives it flavor and scent. So I mean, the pine trees have terpenes, and marijuana has terpenes, and sometimes they smell the same.
Yeah. I mean, there are aromatherapy benefits that people talk about. I mean, it's like this whole entourage effect. That's what it comes down to, is that you think that it's just THC, but it's really a combination of THC and terpenes and, these other, cannabinoids. So it's, I love learning about this stuff. I'm the guy that's in there every day. There's a clinic location at a block and a half from my place. Show me the stuff again.
I like the idea of what state is home to the most informed marijuana populace. Do you think that could be Colorado, or do you think California had such a massive head start?
Well, I mean, there's no question, and I always give my props to the hard work that everyone in California did to help create this industry here. But I think just because of the way that our market went together, and how legal and comfortable individuals felt to walk into multiple different locations on a very regular basis with their card, without the fear of potential raids or other things that were going to happen. I think they felt comfortable enough to spend the time and listen to the bud tender and go home and study, come back, ask more questions, and so I just think it's always hard because you never want to make statements so broad like that, but at the end of the day, I mean, I just really think we've done a lot of our homework here. So
Jake, most informed marijuana populace, go.
I was gonna say, I know number 50 would be Arkansas. Sorry, Arkansas. Wow. I've seen some of your emails.
What do you have against Arkansas?
I moved to Colorado from Arkansas most recently, and I'll go ahead and guarantee that Jake might
right
be
back
right.
at you, Big Vince.
Producer Vince. All right. Well, you guys, it is that time of the episode where I ask you questions and then I judge you depending on how you answer them. So
he judges us.
it is the pot quiz.
He judges us.
The weekly pot quiz. If you get the answer right, you get a point. If you get the answer wrong, your opponent has the opportunity to steal that point from you.
Okay.
We pay very close attention to these tallies. Producer Vince is over there crunching the numbers. Jake, we're starting with you.
Okay.
The IRS recently awarded the First Church of Cannabis a religious tax-exempt organization status. In what state is the church located?
Oh, this guy is a total nut job, and it's in Indiana.
Indiana, ding. All right.
I will say there's a news clip of them interviewing the guy, and then in the middle of it, he kind of lives in like an urban farm, I guess. They just cut to a shot of his peacocks mating. That was somehow, they got it on B-roll, and they just cut to it. Completely irrelevant, but they're like, he lives with these animals.
Or totally relevant.
Yes, I've never seen it happen, though, before. It's fascinating.
We just broke some news today on the Cannabist. Definitely check it out. Hunter S. Thompson's widow is turning his property up near Aspen into a museum eventually, and attached to the house is a peacock Ben.
I loved that.
Yeah,
Okay.
little peacock named Jesse. There's a picture of him on the site right now. Ryan,
Yeah.
joining the likes of Snoop Dogg and Rihanna, What English singer-songwriter recently debuted a new marijuana-themed song called Sweet Mary Jane?
Oh, jeez.
British singer-songwriter just released a marijuana song.
I have no idea. I'm like, I hope I don't get skunked on there.
Jake for the steal?
It's dude. He has two names. One of them might start with W. Nope, I'm not gonna get this.
All right, no points on this question. It is Ed Sheeran.
Oh, no kidding.
And I don't think anybody on this stage listens to Ed Sheeran, which is okay.
I'm gonna start, Ed. If you're watching, I'm sorry. New number one fan right here. If I can win pointless trivia.
All right, Jake. Archaeologists in Russia recently uncovered artifacts from the Scythian Empire dating back more than 2,000 years. They tested positive for marijuana and opium. What material were these ancient bongs made out of?
Ooh. What was the area? Can I ask you to repeat just the...
Yeah, they were in southern Russia. And this is dating back to the Scythian Empire. And as an aside, Andrew Bird's song Scythian Empires is a great song.
It is?
So that doesn't give you any hints, though.
It does not. Okay, so it can't be made of vodka. Potatoes wouldn't have held up that long. Russian stereotypes. I'm just going to go with gold. I'm going to say it was the classiest of all.
Gold is correct. And they're beautiful. You got to see the pictures of them. Check out our story on the Cannabist. We have a link to the National Geographic photos. They're really, I mean, they were preserved so spectacularly.
Interesting
it's insane.
looking, though, too. You know, I mean,
very bizarre looking.
yeah.
It's like, oh, and they're, bongs is in quotation marks. I think they were actually used more for opium, but they were used in the vicinity of cannabis.
Sure.
Tested positive for it.
I think bongs are always in quotation marks for me. Yeah. What are we going to do this time? Bongs?
All right, Ryan. Denver's newest radio station is an all-marijuana talk station. Can you tell me the call letters or the nickname that the station goes by? And a hint. We are west of the Mississippi, so first letter's a K.
K West?
K West. No, not K West. But good guess.
I don't know what the call sign is.
That's kind of like Kanye West. I think that's what's on his on his luggage.
I'm
Just going to show up.
sure he has
taking this station.
Jake, you have any idea?
Calls. It's 4 letters, so and it can't be numbers, right? Can't be K420, so I'm going to go K-Pot.
No.
Oh, they missed an opportunity. K-Pot.
They did, but it is K-Bud.
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 K-Bud, and K-Bud is joining K-High from Colorado Springs. So now Colorado somehow has 2 marijuana talk stations.
Too many.
Clearly we need it. All right, Jake. Officials in the capital of Borat's home country are baffled as to how thousands of marijuana plants made their way into a massive city-run garden. Name the country.
Kazakhstan?
Kazakhstan. Yes. All right. Now, can you sing the national anthem that he butchered in one of those movies?
No, I can't. But my fiance gives me a bunch of trouble because I always say it's one of my favorite comedy movies. She's like, really? That's genius.
I thought the
Sacha
first one was really
Baron Cohen's-
good.
He's just whip smart, that guy.
Yeah. Oh, Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah.
They really appreciate him, too. Kazakhstan.
I know. Yeah, that's where so.
They really.
I loved the stories of the Kazakhs standing up and saying, "That is not us. We do none of those things." All right, Ryan, your chance to get on the board.
Oh my! I have to redeem myself.
What state's weed was precariously left out of High Times' annual Strongest Strains on Earth issue this year?
I hope it wasn't us. I'm going to go with California.
No.
Oh, I was hoping
No.
that was the. I was
And
hoping
you're
that was
gonna
a good
be
one.
kicking yourself.
Is it us?
Because
It was us.
I knew Jake knew the answer to that one. That's why I gave you that question. But yeah, Colorado. I was reading it 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I called Dan Skye, the editor-in-chief of High Times, who's been a guest on this show, and I was like, what's going on here? And he said they had to go to bed. They had to put the issue to bed before the results came back for the Colorado Cup.
I would have loved it if it was just they had to go to bed.
Yeah,
I called him in the afternoon. He's like, I'm
extremely,
very high.
extremely tired. And,
Like, that was an indica day.
Crack team over there.
No, and I was like, oh, and you didn't hold it? And he's like, no, we had to do it this month, and then we didn't get the results back from the Colorado Cup, which is on 4/20. Very surprising.
It's another test result issue.
I'd love to see,
It's a
exactly.
test result issue.
I would love to see just the Colorado results. I think that would be, if that was the thing, okay, fine.
Exactly.
Give us a couple pages. We deserve it, I think.
Sure.
Well, there's also the thing, in 2014, Strongest Strains on Earth, Colorado grows were responsible for 9 of the top 15.
For sure.
And so the question is Colorado growing the strongest weed on planet Earth, or is it more of a testing issue? And High Times itself has started to use multiple labs just to be able to have 2 results and take the average, just to try and come up with a more honest interpretation, since labs results are still all over the place right now. So.
Sure.
Kind of a strange thing, though.
I will say that High Times staff does an amazing job with the Cannabis Cup. They're incredibly thorough, and I have no doubt that they will find a way to right this egregious wrong.
Okay.
Well, I hope they go back and at least update it online, because I would like to see the numbers too.
Yeah.
You guys rule. Thanks for joining me. Thanks again to our friends at home joining us here. Another Cannabist Show. Here is Jake Brown, Ryan Cook from the clinic. I'm Ricardo Baca. That is producer Vince, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye to the Cannabis.
Ain't afraid to get in, I be going for the jackpot with ace in my hand, I'm raw.